Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video and I hope you guys stay tuned until the end. How is everyone doing? Well, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope and wish everything is going on well for you and you guys are staying safe. My name is Esther Vincent, also known as LiaMia on social media. Do follow me over there, would love to see you guys there. Now, as for today, I've brought you guys a legend from my country, Malaysia. To be even more specific, it is from the place where I grew up. It's actually an island and it just holds a very, very special place in my heart. So this legend comes from that island. I love that island so much because it's just a beautiful island. A lot of good memories, a lot of friends, a lot of good people. You know, it's a small community, so everyone sort of knows each other. I grew up most of my childhood over there, so it's a beautiful place. And it's a very, very famous tourist destination in Malaysia. What place is this, you ask? Drum roll, please, because it's my favorite place. It is the island of Langkawi, the jewel of Kedah. Kedah is the state that this island comes under, and it is located at the northwestern side of Peninsula Malaysia. I grew up in this beautiful tropical tourist destination of an island. There's just a lot of place to visit. A lot of tourists come into this island. So I was there for about 11 to 12 years. And this legend for today originates from this island. As per the title of today's video, this is the Legend of Mahsuri and the Curse of Langkawi. What is Masuri, you ask? Well, Masuri is not a thing, but is once said to be a real person, a woman. So very, very long ago in the olden days, when I'm not sure, but I did find a source that said Masuri's story or the living time of Masuri was somewhere at the end of 1700s. At that particular time, there was a married couple named Panda Maya, which is the husband's name, and the wife named Endah Alang. To start a new life, this couple migrated to this island of Langkawi from the southern side of Thailand named Tongkap. Well, at that time, Thailand was known as Siam. Yeah, that's the older name of Thailand. This couple had been married for a very long time, but they do not have any children of their own. The wife, Endah Alang, just could not conceive. Panda Maya's occupation is a paddy farmer, he has paddy fields and he farms them. So one day after working in his paddy field, he was taking rest under a hut when he noticed a crust of rice. Scorched rice, they say, as per the picture over here. You know, the part where a little bit of the rice burns when you cook the rice at the bottom of the pot. So yeah, he finds a crust of rice which was making a very faint noise as if a baby was crying. I know, weird. That is very weird, but yeah. How could a scorched rice be making a faint noise like a baby crying? But that's what the legend said. Coming to think about it, that is so very freaky. So freaky. Too creepy. If it was me, I would have booked out of there ASAP. Scorched rice making a baby noise. Oh my god, no! Now, Panda Maya does the complete opposite. He picks up the magic rice crust and brings it home so that he can mix it a little with the rice that they are about to cook in their house. Whew, I know. Man, people from the 1700s, that is so crazy. You find something so suspicious, you don't even know what is this, but no, it's all good. It must be magic, so let's mix it up with the rice at our home and eat it out. Yes, that is exactly what Panda Maya did. Crust rice. Out of nowhere, making baby noise, bring that back home. Anyways, back to the story. So, fortunate enough for Pandak Maya, the husband, his trick worked. After eating that magic rice crust, his wife got conceived and she became pregnant not long after. Now, the child that Pandak Maya, the husband, and Endah Alang, the wife, gave birth to is named Masuri. The birth of Masuri brought huge luck to her parents. Masuri was one lucky baby indeed. Like I mentioned, Pandak Maya and Endah Alang, the husband and wife, they were paddy farmers, so they had a lot of paddy field. But after Masuri was born, their paddies start to sell abundantly. To add to that, Pandak Maya, the husband, he discovers a location filled with benzoin. When I read it in the story, it was said that benzoin stone, but yeah, he discovered a location filled with them, so that automatically became his, and he started selling benzoin as well. To add to that, he also started selling swiftlets' nest. Swiftlets are, the type of birds that actually build their nest in a combination of their saliva and something else. They have small little nests at the top of the rocks and stuff. So he discovered that as well, and he started to sell them. So he got a jackpot here. He got benzoin. His paddies are selling really well. He found swiftlets' nests. So their fortune was growing. So for Pandak Maya and his family, it took a huge turn for the good, and they started gaining a lot of fortune, a lot of money. They became rich, and now Pandak Maya was referred as the rich man Pandak Maya on the island of Langkawi. Masuri was brought up well versed in Malay values and etiquette religious values. She was also taught a good amount of martial arts, silat to be specific, for her self-defense. She grew up beautifully to become a virtuous woman who was the talk of many in the village and the island of Langkawi because of her extraordinary nature and beauty. So she basically grew up as a princess. Like I mentioned, Masuri's fame about her beauty and her nature did not only spread throughout her village or the villages surrounding her village, but throughout the whole island. Besides all these praises and popularity, there were a handful of people who were not happy with the fame that Masuri is gaining, especially the women's. Not women's, Esther, the women. Because of Masuri's beauty and charm, many men in the island had an eye on her. Well, it happens. So one of the person who had a very, very, very strong eye on Masuri was Langkawi's chief. He is also the representative to the Sultan of Kedah on the island, named Datuk Pekermajaya Wan Yahya. Now, this island's chief, this chief guy, he is married, okay? He's not single. He has a wife named Wan Mahora. And when she found out that her husband has the intention of making Masuri his second wife, she was furious. Well, to begin with, Wan Mahora, the chief's wife, was not actually fond of Masuri, and when she found out that her husband has this intention, she was even more mad. The chief's brother named Wan Darus, he had the same intention as well. He liked Masuri and he wanted to marry her. He was single. Wan Darus, the chief's brother, he was single. Finally, for the sake of not jeopardizing his position and taking care of his name, not jeopardizing his household, the chief, Wan Yahya, blesses the brother so that he could get engaged to Masuri and marry her. So the chief's brother, gets married to Masuri. Now, Wan Darus and Masuri's wedding takes place on the island, super big, a huge wedding. It was very lively, it was like a festival. Well, of course, being a rich kid and being the only kid for your parents, of course, they want to have a huge wedding. So the wedding took place, it was very fun, it was going on very well. Many other men, of course, on the island were very disappointed on failing to make Masuri their wife. Same goes to many ladies on the island who failed to get Wandarus, the chief's brother, as their husband because he was said to be a very handsome looking warrior. So Masuri is sort of like a princess, and the man that she's getting married to is a warrior. This is a Disney movie here. So they get married and they lived happily ever after? No. Where's the curse part? It's coming. So Wandarus and Masuri gets married. They live a beautiful life, and Masuri gets pregnant. So when she was pregnant with her firstborn, the relationship between Kedah, the state that the island is under, and Siam, the Thailand, were getting really intense, and they were not looking good. Siam was slowly invading the northern part of Kedah, which was causing a war to erupt between Thailand, Siam, and Kedah, the state of Kedah. At this, the Sultan of Kedah ordered all his officials and commanders to be prepared, and the army went to fight against Siam. So in the same time, the Sultan also asked help from whoever that's a part of Kedah so that they can help the army. Now in the island of Langkawi, the chief, which is one Yahya, he ordered all the people of Langkawi, whoever who are warriors, who are capable to fight, to gather so that they can go and help the army of Kedah fight off Siam. So this includes Masuri's husband, Wandarus, because he is a warrior, as we all know. He was a handsome warrior. So with a very heavy heart, Masuri sends her husband Wandarus to the war. And as she was very pregnant at that time, she did not want to live alone without her husband, so she moves in with her parents. And when the time came, Masuri delivered a beautiful baby boy named Wan Hakim. One fine day came an immigrant, anchored his boat on the beaches of Langkawi. Some sources say that Duramang, the immigrant, was from Batu Arah, Aceh. Some sources say that he was from Sumatra, Indonesia. So Duramang was taken in and hired by Pandak Maya, Masuri's dad, to help him in the farm, the paddy field. So this Duramang guy, the immigrant guy, he was very diligent and hardworking. But among all of that, he also had a talent for singing and writing poetry. Like I mentioned, this was back in the 1700s, so they definitely had no TV, no radio, no electronics, or any sort of technology. So I know that those days they would listen to people who say story or sing. So since Duramang, this immigrant guy, has the talent for it, every night he would just sit outside of Pandak Maya, Masuri's father's house, and sing or read out his poetry. A lot of the villagers would drop by Pandak Maya's house every night just to listen to this immigrant, Duramang's poetry and his singing. So that's like their pastime, I guess, during the night. Day by day, more and more villagers started coming down to Pandak Maya, Masuri's father's house, every night just to listen to this immigrant, Duramang's singing and stories and poetry. And yet again, Masuri and her family were getting fame. They were getting popular again throughout the whole island. They were the talk of the island. And again, this new fame that was befalling Masuri and her family was not perceived well by everyone on the island, especially one Mahora, the chief's wife. Like I mentioned before, she was already jealous of Masuri. She did not like Masuri, and this newfound fame was adding on to her anger. She just wants to do something. So she was finding whatever she can to put a fault on Masuri, and that's when she found an opportunity. She saw that Masuri was pretty friendly and close with Duramang, the poet guy. And she just knew that this was her chance that she could never miss. This jealous old Wan Mahura, the chief's wife, started going to her husband, the island's chief, Wan Yahya, and she started inciting him, giving all sort of false accusation on Masuri and Daraman. So because of this, the chief, Wan Yahya, he started to observe Masuri and Wan Daramang's actions as well. This jealous Wan Mahura's plan one day succeeded when she and her husband, the chief, saw Daramang entering into Mahsuri's house just to take care of her son, Wan Hakim, while Masuri was not even in the house. She was in the meadows at the back of her house. All they saw was Masuri's in the house and Wan Daramang is entering into her house when there's no one else in the house. So this is back in the 1700s, and I think we all know what would have gone through their mind. Seeing this, the chief got angry as well because Masuri was married to his brother. So he deemed that Masuri was unfaithful, so he ordered his men to catch Masuri. Once Masuri was captured, Daramang escapes for his dear life but was hunted down and killed in Batu Asa. Pandak Maya and Endah Alang, Masuri's parents, they were very shocked at what's going on. They tried to offer all their wealth and riches just to save their one and only daughter, but their offers were denied by the chief, Wan Yahya, and the people of the island. Masuri was dragged to the location of punishment and she was tied up to a tree. Many people around the island came to witness the accusation that was thrown on Masuri because it was very unbelievable, but there was just nothing that they could do against the chief of the island. I think we all know in those days, the really ancient days, unfaithfulness would be rewarded with death. So the same thing over here. Very unfortunate enough for Masuri, she was wrongly proven, so she was sentenced to death then and there itself. Of course, I would say that she would have tried to plead for her life, say that she was innocent, but nobody listened. Like nobody cared to do any sort of an investigation. They saw it with their eyes, so it must be true. She was then impaled with spears and daggers, but none of the spears and daggers that was being stabbed into her body went through her body. Now this incident where the spears and daggers not poking through, not stabbing through Masuri's body, got our very jealous Wan Mahura, the chief's wife, the accuser, very worried because it sort of proved that Masuri was indeed innocent. But it was too late. She was tortured very bad until she was completely weak and almost near death. But she was not dying. After a very long day of torture, Masuri finally gives up and tells the people over there a secret that she can only be killed by a spear inherited by her family generations on generations. After hearing this, the chief of the island, Wan Yahya, wastes no more time. He orders one of his men to go and retrieve this spear from Masuri's parents. So they do that, and once the chief has this particular spear, he stabs into Masuri's ribs and her left breast. So in the stage of unconsciousness and almost dying, Masuri uttered some of these words that is considered as curse, and it is still remembered throughout the ages. Her words were, quote, "I am willing of my death if I am guilty, but if I was wrongly persecuted, wrongly accused, then I forbid my blood to flow to this earth. I swear this land of Langkawi will not be safe and will be a desert wilderness for 7 generations to come." End quote. The blood that flowed out of Masuri's body was said to have been white in color instead of red. Some believe that this was to prove that she was innocent and she was pure, that she was indeed faithful to her husband. There are also some sources that said that her blood indeed did not drop to the ground, but sort of like floated on the air and disappeared. Finally, Masuri succumbs to all the injuries that was inflicted onto her body and she dies. So, what happened to the curse? Did that happen? Did that take place? Oh, yes. It took place all right. It took place in full form. Before I go to the curse, I would like to just mention Masuri's husband, Wandarus. He was away in the war, so he would return to the island of Langkawi following the defeat of the Kedah's army against the Siam army. Yeah, the Siam would win over Kedah. So he returns and would be shocked to find the fate that has befallen his wife, Masuri. But it is said that very soon after him, Wandarus, Masuri's husband, and their child, Wan Hakim, together with both Masuri's parents, they left the island of Langkawi for good. Yep. Now, coming to what happened to Langkawi after Masuri's death. Like I mentioned, the Siamese army, they won against Kedah. So they advanced through the state of Kedah towards all corners of Kedah, which include the island of Langkawi. Exactly 7 days after Masuri's death, the island of Langkawi faced the worst death and destruction throughout the whole island by the Siamese army. The island's chief, Wan Yahya, got killed brutally by the Siamese army and his lifeless body was thrown into the Langkawi River. While the jealous accuser, Wan Mahora, the chief's wife, was said to have been raped brutally and was kept as a slave for some time by the Siamese army before she was killed as well. And this was just the start of the bad times for Langkawi, because it is believed that the island of Langkawi did go through a terrible wilderness infertile stage for about 7 generation time. Due to envy and slander, false accusation, and jealousy, the beautiful island of Langkawi paid a great big price as a consequence. So that is the legend of Mahsuri and the curse that befall the island of Langkawi. The time that I moved into Langkawi with my family, because I was not born in Langkawi, I was born in a completely different place, and I was 5 years old when I moved into this beautiful island. At that time, the island was not all developed as well. It was a very, very basic, simple fisherman island, and I was very little, so I don't remember. But I did see Langkawi blooming. They mentioned that the 7-generational curse ended a couple of years before I moved into Langkawi. I'm not sure how true is that, but yes, I saw Langkawi blooming and getting developed, and now it's super developed. It's a pretty beautiful island with so many hotels and place to stay and tourist destinations and stuff. But when I first went there, it was a very quiet, subtle. Some people even told us that that's a jungle. I don't know how you're going to survive there, and all those stuff to my parents when they mentioned that they are getting transferred to the island of Langkawi. But I would not take it back. I loved the years that I spent in that island. And if you guys ever visit Malaysia, do visit Langkawi, because it's a beautiful island and you would not regret it. This island of Langkawi has many other legends such as this. And if you guys ever visit, do visit the park named Taman Legenda. Inside of that park, they have made a lot of replica of the legends that had happened in the island, so you guys can learn more about it. All that said and done, we have come to the end of today's video. What did you guys think about this legend? If you guys feel that it is legit, Do let me know if you guys feel that it is like, nah, it's unbelievable. Blood floating, white blood. What was the other one? The rice, the scorched rice and making baby's noise. I know it's a little weird, but yeah, these are legends. So I hope you guys liked it. If you guys had stayed tuned until this very moment, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you guys. Do give me a thumbs up if you feel that this was a pretty good story. Do leave me comments on what you guys think. And if any one of you guys are from Langkawi, do hit me up as well. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys on the next video. Stay safe, be safe wherever you are. Take care, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!